The next bill on the calendar for the day is House File 1826. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 1826, number 4 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to state government, the first engrossment.
I recognize the author of the bill, the member from Hennepin, Representative Cleavorn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And when I introduced the finance portion, I said that that would be the introduction for this bill as well. This is the policy that shores up the finances in the other bill. So, members, I'm going to ask for your green vote when we get there. Thank you.
There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Nash moves to amend House File number 1826, the first engrossment. The amendment is coded A14.
The member from Carver, Representative Nash.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, now we have some bipartisanship going on. Members, this is an amendment to analyze the current cloud use that we use in Minute. If you'll remember, a couple years ago, I passed a cloud-first bill. We are actually using the cloud here at the state of Minnesota. This is a very simple amendment that says, as a result of the cloud that we are using, we are going to report the utilization of it, the percentage of use by vendor, and we're just going to present that back to the chairs, the ranking leads, and publish it to whomever might want it. Chair Cleavorn and I have worked on this for a handful of weeks. We've worked with the stakeholders, and we have universal agreement that this is a good amendment, so I would appreciate your green vote.
Discussion to the A14 amendment. I recognize the member from Hennepin, Representative Cleavorn.
Thank you, members. This is a bipartisan amendment. I want everybody to notice that this is a bipartisan amendment. Please vote green.
All those in favor of adopting the A14 amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails and the A14 amendment is adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Kosnick moves to amend House File number 1826, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A16.
I recognize the author of the amendment, the member from Dakota, Representative Kosnick, to explain the A16 amendment.
Mr. Speaker, I think we wanted to do the A15 amendment first.
Representative Kosnick, we are on the A16 amendment.
Okay. Members, the A16 amendment requires the redefinition of legislative days that's in the bill. It requires changes the effective date to not go into effect until the 24-25 biennium. It makes more sense to, if we're going to take this change of definition of a legislative day, to wait until the next biennium instead of doing it right in the middle of the current biennium. And I'd ask members to vote in support of the amendment.
Discussion to the A16 amendment. I recognize the member from Hennepin, Representative Cleavorn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Members, I agree with Representative Kosnick, and I ask for a green vote.
Further discussion of the A16 amendment, Representative Kosnick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Chair Cleavorn. I appreciate your acceptance of this and encourage members to vote in favor of the amendment.
All those in favor of the Kosnick amendment, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The amendment is adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Nadeau moves to amend House File number 1826, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A28.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Nadeau.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, members. This is a very simple amendment that removes one section in this bill that basically changes the law in how we confirm appointees by the governor. And it's not a huge deal to me one way or the other. I just think it's a knee-jerk reaction to, a problem that we face every day in politics. You know, we don't want, you know, if the governor makes these appointments and the Senate doesn't confirm them, we've got these people that sit there and serve in these very important jobs without a confirmation. Now, let's be clear, this is nothing new. It's been happening forever. We have over 170 of them right now. And so what the bill does is basically says that if within 60 legislative days the Senate doesn't affirm the confirmation of these appointees, then they automatically are confirmed. Now, there's two things. Number one, I think we should be consistent. For example, if you get appointed to the Campaign Finance Board, both bodies, the House and the Senate, have to within 40 days affirm they have to affirm the appointment of those Campaign Finance Board members. This is the absolute opposite. If you ever have a Senate that is not in touch with the governor and they want to mess with the governor's appointees, give them this language. Every 30 or 60 days, they'll get rid of every appointee. And if you want to screw up our agencies, that's a perfect way to do it. So I don't think this language is good for the state. I think it's knee-jerk. I think we should roll it back. I think we can talk about it. I appreciate you know, Representative Newton for getting it in the bill. I appreciate Representative Cleavorn for bringing it forward. I think it's a bad policy for the state. And if we get to that point where we have a Senate that wants to try to punish the governor, this is the perfect way to do it. And I would hope everybody votes green with me on this amendment. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Cleavorn.
Thank you, and this is a perfect example of how good people can disagree. I'm just going to ask for a no vote, members.
Representative Nadeau.
And thank you. Sorry, I made an impassioned argument. I was hoping I was going to get some. You know, we haven't had a lot of votes on, you know, Representative Cleavorn just said that the good is going to be attacked, but do it anyway. So I'm just going to keep doing it. This is good work that I do. I request a roll call, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Representative Nadeau requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the amendment. Members, please vote. The clerk will close the roll. There being 57 ayes and 70 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Kosnick moves to amend House File Number 1826. The first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A11.
The member from Dakota, Representative Kosnick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. This is the A11 amendment to the state government finance. And as many of you may know, the State Board of Investment that manages a lot of the pension funds and different funds that the state holds has an obligation to its stakeholders to get the highest return on their investment. But recently, in the last couple of years, there's been a move for environmental, social, and governance modeling that may or may not be using that modeling, may or may not direct state boards and other investors to achieve the highest return of investment for its stakeholders. And so what this amendment does is make sure that we protect our Minnesota industries and that the state board must not invest in assets that intentionally exclude Minnesota-based energy, natural resource companies, or Minnesota-based agriculture or livestock companies to further the assets' environmental, social, or governance-based grade or rating. And instead, we should not be penalizing Minnesota companies, but yet help them thrive and grow and be the best that they can be, provide jobs for Minnesota families. So I ask your support for the A11 amendment to make sure that Minnesota industries are protected and can continue to thrive and have the capital that they need to continue to improve Minnesota lives. And Madam Speaker, I would request a roll call.
Representative Koznick requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Cleaborn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I'm going to ask for a no vote on this. What we've seen in other states when these kinds of policies are put into place, the cost of borrowing does tend to increase. So I'm just going to ask for a no vote. But Representative Koznick, you and I discussed in committee that we both agree that Minnesota industry is awesome, and we want to do all we can to support Minnesota industries. So members on this particular amendment, please vote no.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 59 ayes and 70 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Novotny moves to amend House Bill number 1826, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A13.
The member from Sherburne, Representative Novotny.
Thank you, Speaker. My amendment is a simple amendment that would take place in 2027, would be when this would be enacted, when the next governor is sworn in. The bill or the amendment would just make sure that the next governor maintains a private residence. I feel this is important because I think the governor needs to have contact with real life experiences. They need to feel the consequences of the policies that they have. They need to find out the pain of rising property taxes, rising electric cost for other utilities that will go off the charts, especially when we start dramatically increasing the cost of electricity. They need to find out when they try to do a home repair that they're competing against the state, who is pumping billions of dollars into the housing market and fighting for those materials. So that is my amendment, Madam Speaker, and I request a roll call vote.
Representative Novotny requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Cleaborn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I'm going to ask for a no vote. The details of this amendment are very interesting. I want you to think about this for a moment. If we have a governor who lives in greater Minnesota, let's just say in the farthest northwest corner of the state, and they come to the governor's residence, this amendment would say absolutely zero activities of the governor can be directed to that residence. That means the mail service for the governor could not be sent to the governor's residence. I understand the intention behind it. I appreciate the intention behind it, but members, please vote no.
Further discussion to the amendment. Representative Novotny.
Thank you, Speaker. And Representative Cleaborn, I don't know if you read it, but I don't know where you're getting that not absolutely anything can be done at the residence. We just want them to maintain their own nest, per se. This is the people's house. This is the people that pay the bill. We think the governor should have some skin in the game. I recommend a green vote.
The clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 58 ayes and 71 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Franzen moves to amend House Bill number 1826, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A17.
The member from Douglas, Representative Franzen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. So the amendment, the A17, we simply want to assess the international, environmental, and social impacts of state policies within the Office of the Sustainability Government Operations. So members, as we know, that green energy relies on child and slave labor. And so as we push forward these quote-unquote sustainable guidelines and these goals to meet by 2030 and the EV mandates and the goals we have for that, we need to do a deep digging and assess those social impacts and the international impacts those policies have. So I've got this study right here, August of 2022, was accepted from the International Journal of Life Cycle Assessment, quantifying the life cycle health impacts of a cobalt-containing lithium-ion battery. Remember, somewhere in this study, I meant to highlight it, but I was so enthralled with what we were speaking on the House floor that I didn't do that. But I want to say that there was going to be needing another 25,000, don't quote me, but about 25,000 more children that were going to be needed to dig in the mines in order for the world's climate goals to be reached by 2030. So we need to just see what we're doing here in the state of Minnesota. We cannot be pushing to have more children and more slaves digging in mines and putting together solar panels for our green energy needs. So members, I would request a yes vote. Oh, Madam Speaker, I request a roll call. Thank you.
Representative Franzen requests a roll call. Are there 15 hands? Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Cleavorn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I actually looked into this amendment to see what it would be for us to do this. And when I checked with admin, they told me that this goes well beyond the current duties of the Office of Enterprise Sustainability, and it would cause them to have a substantial fiscal impact because they would either have to hire a large team of researchers or contract with the university. So since this is a policy bill and this would have a fiscal impact, members, I would ask you to please vote no.
Any further discussion? Representative Franzen.
Madam Speaker, I would say when we have a $17.5 billion surplus and we are raising taxes by another, what, $10 billion? $10 billion. I would think that we could find some chump change to look at these policies and to make sure that we are protecting kids from having to go mine minerals and slavery to put together solar panels for us to achieve our goals. The chump change is there. It's in the couch cushions. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I was at the hotel, my hotel that I stay at while I'm down here, and I found $4 in the couch. So, I'm telling you, the change is there in the state of Minnesota's couch. Thank you.
The clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 59 ayes and 69 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Gilman moves to amend House File Number 1826, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A29.
The member from Meeker, Representative Gilman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This amendment is a very simple amendment. It is removing the Minnesota Association of Townships as the exclusive organization which townships or county units can use to be reimbursed and their fees reimbursed as well. Just again, hearing information from townships wanting options, transparency. There's been some things that have happened this past year or so where a significant amount of money was scammed and is under investigation, not by the Minnesota Association of Townships, but they had fallen to a scam. And townships and local governments are looking for options for their people and their constituents, and that there be more transparency with taxpayer dollars. And so that's my amendment. Vote green.
Representative Cleburne.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I had an email exchange with the Minnesota Association of Townships, and they've asked us to not support this amendment, but they were also very confused as to where it came from. So I would encourage you to please reach out to the townships and just let them know what's going on. Because so at this moment, members, I'm going to ask for a no vote. If there's a conversation that we need to have next year during policy, I would be happy to have that conversation with you at that time.
Representative Gilman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative Claiborne. I as well have had great conversation with them this morning as well, and look forward to working with them and you as well on just having more conversations about what this would look like. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The amendment is not adopted. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File Number 1826, as amended.
Third reading as amended. The member from Dakota, Representative Hewitt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'll go real quick here. As Vice Chair of the committee, you're just there. But I'd like to thank Lead Nash. You were very graceful when I did have the gavel, and we got through those committee hearings together. And like you said, one of the more moving hearings was the public television hearing, and I appreciate you sharing your time. But Madam Speaker, to you, I really want to thank you for giving us Chair Claiborne. Her mediation skills proved really well in this committee many times. I know that the state is going to be in a much better place. You're going to be more efficient and more effective with what you did in this bill. So thank you, Chair Claiborne. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Carver, Representative Nash.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Representative Hewitt, for that. I do appreciate that. I appreciate you helping me getting through that day. I will be even more brief than the chair was in her intro. Members, I would urge a no vote. Thank you.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Cleburne.
Again, members, this is a great bill. I encourage a green vote, and thank you to everyone who helped make this bill possible.
The clerk will take the roll on the bill. Members, please vote. The clerk will close the roll. There being 71 ayes and 58 nays, the bill is passed. Did we amend it? We did amend it, right? As amended, and its title agreed to.